That can't be coincidence. This can't be coincidence. What is with this world and this idea that children are seen as like not human? It feels like every other episode, there's at least one person making a comment to that degree. Like we had Riche's comment against the Knights Morales, her talking about how like, you don't see children as humans or something like that. I think Tarta said something to the effect, and I think Agot has said something to the effect of that. And now we have this episode with this master and towards his apprentices, like basically treating them like objects that could be traded, or that if they're broken, it sucks that you can't get them repaired like they're actual objects. It doesn't seem like that should be coincidence. I feel like this writer is trying to go for something here. I mean, there could be that the writer just feels like, in general, children are not treated as humans, that they're treated as these things that are still developing and they're not seen as equals until they reach adulthood or something like that. Or it could be lore to the world. I kind of wonder this might be one of those many things that Kefri doesn't like about the other witches, that they treat apprentices like they're subhuman, that they're not fully people until they reach the point that they are witches. At which point it's like, welcome to the fray. Come on in here. You're finally one of us. You're no longer this lowly being that is not going to amount to anything. You've finally proven that you're going to amount to something. Something like that. Again, that could be what Kefri doesn't like how those other groups do things. But we'll see. But yeah, episode 11, we have 2 more episodes, by the way. We only have 2 more episodes of this series. No doubt this is getting a sequel. I have no doubt this is getting a sequel. It feels like there's a lot of like, promotion going into this. They're really kind of trying to bring this up. Bug Films has done an incredible job with it. It's being touted as being something very successful. So we'll see. But I have no doubt they're going to have another sequel. It's going to be probably way down the line. It's going to be probably similar to Free Run. We got to wait some while before they can cook something else up, if they're not already cooking something. But anyways, episode 11, though. Okay episode. I not really one of my favorites of the series so far. I think it's some good, starting points for some of these characters. Obviously, Riche, for the most part, starting to get into her character. And obviously getting into Agot and her doing their first test here, or their second test technically. A little bit into Coco and her specialty. And really a lot about Kefri and sort of the boundaries that he's kind of trying to navigate right now, which is obviously around Riche. Honestly, Riche, her story so far, I'm not too impressed, but I think that's kind of par for the course for this writer. I think this writer doesn't like to get too involved with the characters and really making them have complicated backstories. For the most part, like even with Agot, we got a little bit in Agot already. They're very simple backstories. Even Tetia, what we've seen so far with her, it's very simple. Now, there's always a chance for Agot and for Tetia for them to expand a little more in the future, but I've seen so far, I'm not really expecting too much from this writer when it comes to character writing. I think overall their world building, their world mechanics, and the ability to kind of pace the story forward is very exceptional, but I think they're not that great with like deep characters. Seems like Kefri could be the oddball in this whole mix, because he so far is very mysterious, but we'll see. But let's get into the episode proper, opening up the episode with this little brief scene with Agot. Agot watching these wolves as they're trying to shed their scales in order to be able to be with their offspring. Breeding season's over. They need to shed these scales so they can actually, interact with them without harming them. And it gets in this like parallel with Agot herself and the idea that she's learning that she needs to shed those scales in order to interact. It does imply, I'm not sure, I don't remember if the anime did it, but the manga does imply later on that Kefri sort of equates himself to his interactions with Riche, and the idea of how much of those scales he needs to shed in order to be around her and to, again, communicate with her. Again, he's seeing those barriers. But yeah, right here, Agot is seeing those barriers. Seeing the barriers that she put up herself, because these individuals, yes, technically they've shed those scales and they can now interact with their children, but they're now defenseless. Should I do that? It's really Agot saying, should I do that? Should I interact more with Coco? Should I bring down those barriers? Because technically she's proving to me that she's useful. She's proving to me that I can learn something from her. I assumed before she's an outsider, I can't learn anything from her. Now I'm seeing that she's doing everything that we're doing. It's shattering her preconceived notions that outsiders can't learn this. Wait, she's pulling it off. Okay, I'm learning something from her. Through our interactions, through the things that we've done in the past, I'm technically learning good things from her that are benefiting me. I didn't think I could do that. So it's a cool little kind of, again, eye-opening experience for Agot, kind of expanding on her character to, again, bring down those barriers. But we cut over to Coco, and she's learning her specialty, which, I mean, I think at this point we can all pretty much say, yeah, we kind of seen that coming. Her specialty is drawing very straight lines, and that's kind of seemingly from, doing all that cloth cutting and stuff like that, somewhere you really need a straight line. Now it is, her bad side is the fact that she can't do curved lines very well, but straight lines she got it covered. I like there is an element where she almost gets ahead of herself in the idea of, well, I'll just stick with this thing because it's my specialty. No, it's probably where you should stray away from that and focus on this other stuff. But it does open the door to seeing Coco and her usual love for spells themselves and how much she's just looking at all these different books and seeing all the different ways these things are created, which is cool. It does make sense. The idea that when you finally, it's basically like learning a code. Because she now learned the code, she knows how the seals work, she knows how all the sigils and everything work, she knows how everything kind of is structured. It makes it make more sense that when she looks at all these very complicated seals, wow, how the hell they make that? There's a lot of emphasis here on the idea that when she looks at these spells, she says it to Riche later on, why she likes looking at them so much is because it's like I can see the backstory behind the spell, basically. By looking at this, I can see, okay, this is where they were at. This is what their life experience was. Obviously, because this is doing this thing, it means that this other thing wasn't available at the time. So I can see that there was a necessity for something and they were trying to overcome this lack of something. There's a story behind every single spell. So it's cool to kind of see how much she's, involved with it. But of course, right here, we open up the door to somebody that doesn't see that quite the same way. Riche does not want to get involved with them and just very quickly says, nope, I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. I don't like looking at things. I like drawing my own things. I don't want to look at it. Don't want to look at it. And again, right here, Kiefer trying to nudge a little bit. Trying to nudge just a little bit. Hey, look, you're going to learn something from this. It's not just about learning magic. Isn't just about drawing and learning how to draw really well. It's also about seeing how things function and whatnot. He wants her to look at these spells and to learn something from them, which again, she pushed back on. Now, again, this is where we kind of get into sort of Riche herself and the fact that she's pushing back against this. As we find out later on, as Coco kind of follows her down into the cave, that the reason that, she doesn't want to look at these spells is because she doesn't like looking at them because immediately people want her to draw them. Well, they're trying to bait me by going, hey, look at these. Aren't they great? And the moment I look at them, they're going to go, now draw it. Again, this is where we're getting that little kind of, it's very kind of simple-minded, but at the same time, it's seemingly pointing towards a trauma. We're obviously pointing at some sort of trauma that for Riche herself, while it looks very simple and it seems like she's a little bit too obsessed with this, there is, for her, a difficulty for her to overcome it. As we see this backstory later on, it seems like her brother was somebody that found beauty in what she made. And it even seems like when Coco comes down there and she sees all these ribbons hanging down and she's going, amazing. It's so amazing. This is your custom spell. It's so amazing. Oh my gosh, can I have one? Oh, I can have one. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Finally, somebody else that likes it. But her brother was the same way. Her brother seen this, seen the ribbons, liked it, thought it was beautiful. She crumbles it up and she throws it. And she goes, oh, look at there. It's a really pulley thing. Oh, it's great. I like what you create. I like that you express yourself with your magic. Don't ever change. And that seems to be the thing that kind of just locked into her young mind. Don't change. Because the moment that this happens, he disappears. It implies there is a two-step process here. One, acknowledgement of her own way and her own style. And then two, abandonment. He left me. Why did he leave me? It kind of implies the idea that the brother left off and, became a witch at that point because he got his hat. But the question mark here is, why did she attach to that so much? Is it the fact that because he asked her to do that before leaving, she needs to hold to it and feels the necessity to hold to it? Or is it the fear that if I do end up changing, he'll never come back? That's the question mark there. And again, it's one of those things where we see it and goes, wow, that's very simple. Why is she so obsessed with this? You can draw other things. But to her, it's a struggle for her. It's something that she's afraid of getting away from. I was told to do this by somebody that I trust. Thus, I have to do this one thing. And every single time somebody tells me to do something, I'm afraid of doing it because it might change who I am. If I read somebody else's work, I might be influenced by them, and thus I will change how I do things, and I can't do that. Because again, brother told me not to. Brother said to keep to what I was doing there. I do kind of wonder, and this could be another reason why she doesn't want to change, I do kind of wonder if there is an element here that the brother was also somebody that had a beautiful, unique style to his magic, but in order to become a witch, he chose to drop it. And that's why he loved the fact that Riche was keeping to her style. You're doing what I kind of wish I could do. But no, I chose, in order to be successful, I have to take what's in the books. I have to do what they tell me to do. We'll see. Either way, it's an okay setup here. I'm hoping it's more complicated than that, but again, I don't really expect it just based off of what we experienced with Agot's story. It's very much so an expectation, and the expectation is, for these young children, a very heavy burden, which again, in itself is logical. I'm not saying it's not logical, but it is, at the same time, not incredibly deep. We'll see that. But yeah, going back to the whole like outburst by her trying to push her to it, she just draws an icicle thing, just explodes in the middle of the table. Quickly, Kiefer running over there and be like, okay, chill. Don't do spells when you're angry. It's a very dangerous thing to do. But no, Coco kind of chases after her right after that, and we have a little brief conversation between Kiefer and Ollie. And again, this was that interesting kind of addition to this element of, the beasts and how they shed their scales. This idea that Ollie right here is even implying that if she doesn't pay attention to what's going on around her, she's never going to go anywhere. If she's ignoring the guideposts, if she's not listening to her master and what he's teaching her, she's never going anywhere. Ollie's acknowledging that you got to do something. You're going to have to push her eventually. But again, Kiefer's going, yeah, I know where she came from. But yeah, he's trying to navigate this, trying to figure out how much he's going to push. And it's difficult for him. Which we see, obviously, by the end of the episode, where he does end up pushing her quite a bit. For her own sake, I know you can do this. It's going to help you. You need to do this test. Please just trust me here. And again, that element there of her saying, all right, but if I do something I don't want to do, I'm not going to trust you ever again. If it changes how I am, I'm not trusting you ever again. I think how this is going to end, and this could be pretty much the biggest growth for Riche's character. I think how this entire thing is going to end, this is obviously facilitating Agot, passing this test, but I think the story bit for this whole test is going to be more Riche. I think what she's going to find out as she's doing this test is that it helps her grow. She's going to learn something incredibly useful from this, but she's going to realize it's something that she needs. And then she's going to come back to him and say, Kiefer, I told you, if it changed me how I am, I'm not going to be happy, but it's okay. I learned something. You're right. I learned something that I needed. This was necessary for my growth. We'll see though. But no, when Coco went chasing after Riche, I kind of assumed that the pot was magical. Or, I mean, there was a thought that I had at a moment that like there was a hole like there, and she put the pot on top of it, and then a basket on the bottom. That way, the stuff looked like it was sitting in something that had a base. But I wasn't sure if that was going to be like a portal to, like underneath that basket was a portal to another location. It implies in the manga that Coco falls down there and says, "Was that pot magical?" So I'm assuming it's probably magical. I just don't remember in the anime if it implied that, but that's technically what seemed to be implied there. But I love that little nook that she has, that little hidden little chamber that Riche's kind of hanging out in. Got a little, like, I don't know, like a beanbag that she's sitting around in, just chilling down there. It was a cute little moment between her and Coco. As usual, Coco kind of her positive nature, seeing the crystal things and freaking out and going, it's amazing. Just the usual Coco infectious nature. She's happy about things. She thinks it's a great thing. Hey, Riche, happiness. Doesn't Coco capture you? How positive she is about magic? Let the Coco positivity just infuse in you. But yeah, cutting forward, we go to the whole second test here, which is at the Serpent Back Cave in Cape Ramon. I'm actually very surprised that in the end of this whole thing, they didn't somehow rope Coco into it. Now, there's still a chance that by the end of this test, something big's going to happen, and Coco just suddenly is involved. Because, I mean, the implication here is that, again, based on what was said before, that this other brim hat might possibly get involved. Because they said whenever they get away from their master, that's when we strike. So potentially, while Agot and Riche's down in there, they could attack. And then at that point, Kiefer has to rush off there and Coco chases after, and then Coco resolves everything. I do hope they don't do that. I don't want this writer to keep constantly having to have Coco resolve everything. Like, it feels like every issue so far has been resolved by her. Technically, Kiefer came at the end with the whole dragon thing, but like, it seems like she always ends up being the answer to everything. And I don't really want that to be the case. I want these characters, Agot and Riche, to do their own thing. For them as characters to shine. Not always have main character have to save the day. But we'll see. But yeah, the introduction to that whole test there. It's a cool concept here. It's, again, what Kiefer says at the very end, that these ruins where these creatures used to always have to travel has been warped by, forbidden magic. And so for us as magicians, we come here every single year at this time, and we use it as a training method. We come here every year in order to help them navigate through this area because it's our fault. It's our responsibility to sort of see if these creatures are able to make it because we screwed this up. It's a cool little idea here. And again, they have to disguise themselves, be careful not to use your magic. And yes, they can see it. It's perfectly fine, but you're going to fail because it's going to scare the creatures. So in the end, no matter what, you fail because you made the creatures not able to get to their destination. So that's the whole concept here. But cool concept for a test here. And yeah, to see the warped reality, that was an interesting thing there. I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be, I'm going to assume that entire area, that tunnel is going to be, the gravity itself is going to be warped. Your gravity point is going to change as you walk down there. Like reality itself is warped, not just physically warped. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they use their magic to get through the situation. And again, specifically how Riche herself is going to grow. Again, I think this is going to be a growing point for her. But yeah, that other Apprentices master, dick one. Oh, it was interesting because I don't think it was an anime as well. The manga specifically, Kifri at the end there, when the guy disappears, Kifri was offering to the boy, you can come to my atelier. But the boy cuts him off quickly and says, no, I'll be a failure no matter where I go. I got to do this, and hopefully, I can prove myself to the master or whatever. Like, he desperately wants to do this for the sake of, like, proving himself because he's been a failure for so long. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 11 of Which Atelier. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, y'all take care.